listeners can find you?
Well, I'm always happy to be back, man. But I always hold it down for you on the East Coast over at the dojo. It was great hanging with
Yeah,
XG and everybody over there, man. We had a
always
blast.
a
This was one of the best
pleasure.
weekends of my life, for real.
Great time.
Oh, it was unbelievable, man. That was the secret show that never happened. That was too hot for TV and cannot be spoken about. Was
Yeah,
still
for
one of the best
sure.
comedy
It's so
shows that I've ever
secret.
been a part of.
It's so secret.
But I've been so psyched, man. My Instagram took off because we started doing 90-second versions of my podcast called
It's
American Loop.
great. It's great. You got some great videos on there, dude. You have some really great I forget which one I just the electric chair one was great. Yeah, dude, you get it. I'm gonna start doing those 90-second ones too. That's my next thing. I'm doing everything. That will be the next thing. Quick
Well,
hit, bang, bang, pow.
YouTube just upped it, I think, recently. I think you can have up to 3 minute long shorts now on YouTube. So we're about to re upload all those on YouTube as well.
Nice. Can you do on Instagram?
Minute
I
and a
thought it was
half.
90
Instagram is 90
seconds.
seconds. Yeah, Insta's
Yeah.
90. YouTube used to be 60 seconds. Now I think it's up to 3 minutes.
I love it. I think that is, it's like I have three types of conspiracy shows. One is a long form like this. The next one is a debate show. And then the other one is short form where I watch videos. I think we watched your video on doom scrolling. So like I realize that the medium is changing. I think there's a lot of people that like long form, like when they're at work, they just want to put something on, they want to listen to a long form show. And then there's also people who want that quick hit information, the Ian Carroll, the James Lee, that are really good at doing like short formed videos that action pack with info. So I think you're on the sun. I think that's a great way to disseminate information. I'm super happy for you.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. If I can do the cheap book plug right up front, and then I'm going to
Of
show you
course.
something I think you'll love. You guys, you scrolled past it a second ago, which was awesome because I'm excited about this. The book is called "History Isn't Boring. Your Teacher Was," and essentially what it is that it's all. Oh, they pulled it right up there, man. Yeah, we're selling. We actually sold out of all of our author copies already. My
There you
girlfriend
go.
Carly was
Fuck
the
yeah.
illustrator. Yeah, we're making some things happen here, sir. I think they're all going directly to Hillary Clinton. I think she's trying to suffocate the movement once again, but it is what it is. But my favorite thing we've done is that each one of these, literally every page is one story. That's all it is.
Oh,
Every story is
wow.
a single page. I boiled it down to 90 seconds or less. I'm not here to be an educator. I'm here to be a primer. So if you want to go digging into stuff afterwards, that's what this book is pretty much all about. So go take a look.
How many pages is it?
What did we get to? I think it was like 70 something pages. So I did 25 stories, 25 of the wildest ones that we found from doing the podcast. And I got, there's a chapter in there about your boy, Mr. Edward Bernays. And we sent you something too, Sammy. It takes a little while because the Postal Service has to finish shipping out the ballots in Maricopa County, which takes
So
about,
funny, dude.
it's about 3 to 4 business days.
Kerry
But
Lake is getting effed again, dude. They just those Democrats hate that chick. They hate her, dude.
I
It's
think she was too
unbelievable.
hot.
She is. She's too attractive.
Hot,
She talks too
hot.
much shit. She got that fucking Karen haircut that pisses people off. And she just can't catch a break with that fucking weirdo with the weird hairline, dude. He's got crop circles in his hair. Uh so it's interesting, dude. It's so funny. I
This is
have done
coming
a
to you, by the way.
I love it. I love
I don't
it.
know if you
That's
can see
so
what that
funny,
is.
dude. That's so funny to
The
convince
Edward
everybody to
Bernays
smoke it.
Zippo lighter.
Oh, dude, that's the best. That's
Yep.
do you sell those?
There is one cut. We do sell them. They're on the website as well, and we have one coming straight over to you. That's why I hit you up for your
Thank you,
address the other
buddy.
day.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's super interesting, dude. The whole thing's super I love how you're like your boy. Black people, all my black comic friends always do that to me. They'll be like, your boy is over there doing that. I'm like, who's my boy? They're like, Donald Trump. I'm like, okay, you
Anytime
know,
you hear somebody say your boy, it's bad news every
yeah,
time. Yeah.
yeah. And it's never really somebody either.
No, no. Yeah.
It's always somebody in the news that's like white and you're white. So your boss over there. You're like, who? Marco Rubio. He just got named what?
Oh man,
Um,
remember that guy?
yeah, well, now he's back. So let's get into it. You're on the East Coast. You're like New York City, New Jersey. What was the feel on the election? LA I'm not even lying to you when I tell you LA seems to be devastated, like rocked to its core. Uh with this election, just angry people.
Less traffic. Less traffic. People are at home crying. Less traffic.
Yeah, people are at home crying. It's unbelievable to me.
So East Coast is weird because this is the best that a Republican has done in New York and New Jersey since Reagan. And Jersey actually has this weird thing. Jersey is so reliably Democratic. They never voted for Lincoln. Lincoln never won New Jersey. Like
Nice.
they're that locked in. It's pretty trippy. But I feel like people knew it was coming this time. It was weird. You drive throughout the whole, and you know Jersey well enough too. There's probably the majority. I would say it's probably a red state in disguise because there's like two counties that make it vote blue every time because that's where just it's the densest population. It's Hudson County and Essex County kind of decide who we go for the president. So outside of those counties, everyone's like, "Yeah, how'd you not see this coming?" And then in those counties, they're like, it's Hitler. He's back. He's back."
It's
At which
just
point he's
really
really Napoleon. If he comes back, he's Napoleon. Give me a little context here.
It's so great. It's so funny to me, just like the how emotionally manipulated and how people be. I mean, like, okay, maybe because the guy who I didn't necessarily want, but I needed over the woman I definitely didn't want for sure, and maybe because they won, I was like okay with it, and maybe I should go back and take a look at how I felt when Joe Biden jacked the election from Trump the last time. Maybe I was emotionally, Johnny, was I emotionally retarded back then? Would you say honestly here?
Back then? Sorry, what?
Okay, okay. Was I more emotionally retarded than normal?
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I just
I
remember
mean, I did pay
certain
you
he
the
was
money.
going to win.
I agreed, right?
Yeah,
But you guys kept holding it off. I remember, not you, but like whoever bet Johnny was like,
yeah, that's
"Dude, you
right.
gotta give it
Everybody was
3
like,
weeks.
"We gotta
Gotta
wait till
give
the end
4
of the
weeks."
year, get through
Yeah.
all the legal stuff."
But I did pay you.
Yo, you did, yeah. So many, but I had people bet me he was going to win after the votes had all been counted and the election was over. People were still betting me like, "Oh no, he's going to be the president." You know, before is like I think I took bets in December from people, and some of them paid, some of them did not. But yeah, I mean, there was
Yeah, I had to have sit downs with people that did want to pay out. I'm like, pay out, just pay out, give them their money. Regardless of what happened, you got to pay it out. So here we are. We got another 4 years
I mean, the people
of
that,
Trump.
to be fair, the bet I made was that they will rig the election and Biden will win. So anybody who you couldn't say, "Oh, he cheated," I don't have to pay you with me because that was part of what I said. I got what you're saying.
The beauty of this show is it's so evergreen, right? There's just an evergreenness to it that people now are still going back and listening to old episodes. But the beauty of that now is like all the old Trump episodes before the 2020 will now sound like normal episodes, right? They will like you'll be able to listen to them because Trump does end up winning, which is great. But what are your thoughts right now, KP? I don't know how much you're into politics, what you're following, but there seems to be Trump seems to be playing a little game here, signing some of the people that everyone loves to his cabinet, signing straight up Zionists to other parts. Uh, you know, Edelman's wife, the guy, the Israeli hotel owner, who has since passed, his wife has carried on the mantle of Israel. She donated $100 million to his campaign, and based on his numbers, was basically a third of his money. The third of the money that Trump used for his campaign was from Edelman. And now he's putting in a lot of Zionists, and of course the black pill people are going nuts. I don't know what your algorithm's telling you, but so far he's president elect. We'll see if he gets there to that. It's still a long way off, but what are your thoughts so far, if you have any?
Well, it's kind of unprecedented times, but it's also very precedented. It's a weird one because prior to Donald Trump pulling it off, being the 45th and the 47th president. The only other guy to ever serve non-consecutive terms was Grover Cleveland, who was he was born in Jersey, actually. He wound up being governor of New York. But his story is kind of interesting because that's why I love history, and I think history marries conspiracy so well, is because history is cyclical. So you can actually forecast conspiracies because you're like, listen, they tried this on a smaller scale once, wait for it to pop off on a larger scale. So you want to talk about things that like Tammany Hall was doing to interfere with elections. That's literally what they're doing right now with bringing people in over the border. They're just not doing it in 5 Points Manhattan anymore. Now they're doing it in swing states and swing counties. But the thing that I loved about Grover was a super popular Democrat that all the Republicans liked because he was really moderate. And then he was extremely popular. And then the old school legacy candidate of the Republicans was Benjamin Harrison, who was William Henry Harrison's grandson, I believe. So he was a legacy candidate. They were trying to go like back to remember the good old days, the same way they tried with Joe Biden to be like, remember Obama? You loved Obama. This guy was there with him. And they did that. And it's pretty much accepted now that there was voter fraud. There was something with the ballots where you could tear off the bottom part of a ballot and make it unusable. So they did that for all of the Grover Cleveland votes in what would have been Grover's reelection. So instead, he lost that election. Benjamin Harrison becomes president for 4 years. He's completely unremarkable. People forget he's a president. And Grover's wife was a total badass. She was she was a hot chick. There's been some hot first ladies, by the way. I don't know if everybody knows that. But
and there's been some unhot first ladies too. There's been some very questionable first ladies, and they've been questionable whether they're ladies or not. But go on.
Oh, that part I like on that one too. The hottest ones, from what I understand, is Dolly Madison was considered she was a hottie back in the day, and then Grover Cleveland's wife, whose name I forget right now, but she was hot. She was young. I think she got married in the White House. And I believe her quote was when they left the White House after they knew that there was voter fraud and Benjamin Harrison screwed her husband out of the presidency. I believe she just looked over and told the White House staff, keep everything in good condition. I'll be back in 4 years. And boom, she came right back in. Grover won big time on the next one. So we have something, you can go to for history on this one. And then also about voting for a felon. People like, how can you vote for a felon? Do you know who Eugene Debs is, Sam?
I should know, but I don't.
So Debs was a socialist. He's actually considered one of the most important socialists in America. And he was trying socialism for what he thought was the betterment of human government, if you will. And he was
kind of like homosexuality in college. Just trying it.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, okay. We're just experimenting a little bit. You know what I mean? It's you do a little crystal meth. I'll bend my head over and see if I can get it in my mouth.
Johnny, stop. We accept your college years. Go on.
It's.
I was getting no action in college, actually.
Not even gay action.
No action.
Not even gay action.
Oh, you got to try a little bit. For
androgynous Johnny. Nobody knows what team he plays for. It's androgynous Johnny.
Don't worry, buddy.
Your mama knows what team I play for.
Oh, bang. Your mama jokes. It is a new era in America. Go on.
Well, long story short is that Debs was a socialist, and they were so afraid of him during the Red Scare that they actually jailed him. So he wound up in jail and ran for president from jail and got 600,000 votes. And the true lefties consider him a hero. So when somebody's like, how could you vote for a convicted felon? It's like, didn't your party champion voting for a guy from jail? Like, there's been a lot of, they really have such a short-term memory. I miss the days. I grew up in the era when the Democrats were still capable of being the good guys. I just haven't seen it in so long.
No, I do.
When was that? Can you say when that ended? When do you think that ended, really?
So I would say for me in my lifetime, and I'm 37 years old, it's when 9/11 was a big thing for me because, I mean, I'm sure it was for everybody that was on here. But
9/11 was devastated.
Horrible. It was horrible. I just saw him go down in like third grade, and then I could play soccer.
Were you still in Mexico then?
No, I was here. I remember we went straight to recess after the towers went down. Teachers crying, straight to recess.
Recess. It's called recess.
Recess.
And not recess sounds like a peanut butter restaurant. We went to Reese's. I got a sandwich. Devastated. John, what was real quick before KP goes on? What was Telemundo's coverage of it? Did they have like short skirt, fat titted women trying to
Yep, distracting you from the towers. Distracting you from the towers. All you saw was big old titties.
I wanted it so badly for it to be a clown, that just a sad crying clown pointing to the tower. It's
Okay, go on. So were you remembering the back when the Democrats like the small guys?
I do. By the way, I just have to ask XG though, did that recess that you went to right after 9/11, did the teachers say, were they like, listen, we're not gonna let you guys play with the Jenga set. No one's allowed to play Jenga for a couple days.
Oh, definitely. Jenga was out of the question. No Jenga for like at least 3 weeks.
Oh man. Yeah, that was a bad one. But I remember when they were the Democrats were sitting there and they were against the Patriot Act. And me at the time, I was a dumb kid. I was in 8th grade when it happened. And I sat there and I was like, oh my God, well, my understanding is based off of my knowledge of foreign policy, which came exclusively from Kiefer Sutherland on 24, was that we need to be able to torture everybody so that we can get to the real bad guys. And by the way, 24 kind of a loosely left, a very libertarian show where they're like, on paper, it's always going to be, the evil third world people, but then it's always the military industrial complex.
Yeah, right. Right.
So the longer you watch, they always get there. It's always like some white guy named like Corbin McBurnson or something like that winds up funding everything. But
his new show, he just has a type, which is hilarious because like in his real life, he's a crippling alcoholic, but in his shows he's like a super agent who fights conspiracies. His new one's called Rabbit Hole, and I don't know if it got what.
Who are you talking? Okay.
Yeah, dude, it was a really good show too. I mean, there were some woke moments in it.
It's funny because he's in this new Clint Eastwood movie and he's an AA group leader, which is interesting.
Maybe he got clean. I don't know, but and you can play sober, Johnny. It's possible.
No, I mean, it's just funny you mentioned that, and he would be.
Oh, that's interesting for sure.
It's really hard to play sober and not be sober, though.
I guess
you have to at least be sober while you're acting. That's what I mean.
100. You can't get shit faced on set.
We can't all be Tom Waits, and just no one can ever tell.
Yeah, him and Dean Martin were the best at that. You had no idea.
100%. But I remember when the Democrats were speaking out against the Patriot Act, I was like, what are these cowards, blah, blah, blah. And then I look back and I'm like, oh my God, they were the only ones fighting the good fight. That was when it was the same time when Ron Paul, I would sit there and they'd be like, oh, Ron Paul is, he's a hero for this and this and this, but he's going to get this shit booed out of him in South Carolina. So
even Ron
Paul, tricky time.
He had some bad votes back around that time too, because his staff was going to revolt. They were all going to mass quit, apparently, and they kind of bullied him into supporting.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
Yeah, that's the story that's been handed down. Anyway, I don't know if it's true.
Yeah, I remember that's when they were the good guys, man. They were doing some good stuff, and when Biden was still getting ready to run, they were actually ramping up how he was the biggest war hawk of all the Democrats. And it reminded me of that Family Guy joke where they said Peter Griffin went to Congress and he goes, "Just a reminder: anybody who votes against the war is gay." And everybody, all of a sudden, every senator screaming, "I vote for war! I vote for war! I vote for war!"
That's a powerful tool to persuade people. Is threatening with homosexuality.
A minor illusion of the Bohemian Grove.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, you go, Sam. When did it change? I mean, it's like the two parties have always done this forever. They're always kind of flip-flopping on who's on what side, and they've done forever. You go back and look at slavery. Democrats were a big part of slavery. Now we could go at the time. Did they think slavery was bad? No. So maybe that doesn't count, right? Because society was like, yeah, it's totally cool to own people. Why not? They're like, everyone's doing it. It's fun, So we may not, but we've seen that back and forth when I think we have this. One time things definitely changes when the Clintons come in and the Koch brothers are funding them to bring them more center. And then, and we've talked about this recently a lot about how big of a moment it was in American politics when Hillary Clinton just steals the primary from Bernie Sanders and just basically torpedoes the Democrats. Because at that point, the Democrats then become adversarial to their own constituents. And they're like, well, we don't have to give you who you want. We're going to give you who we want. And which is the flaw of the progressive elites every time. They're like, you don't know what you want. We know what you need. And then people just don't go along with it. Whether it's the Democrats or Hollywood, they're both bottoming out because they ignore the golden rule of business, which is the customer is always right. And the Democrats go to court and they argue that we're a private business and we're under no obligation to give our constituents the candidate they want. Right there, you're like you are saying you're a business, so you got to follow the rules of business. So I think the Clintons did immense damage to the Democratic Party and the perception we have that the left is the blue collar party. And the right is like the corporation party. And I'm not saying that the right isn't the corporation party or that they're not the bad guys either. Like my whole thing with this Trump thing is like, he's picking up all these Zionists and everyone's like seems to have a major problem with it. And I understand that too. I'm not shocked because he did this the first time he was in. He 100% did this the first time he was in. This is exactly how he operates. And you know what? We destroyed the Democratic Party for not giving us what we want. Let's get the broom out and sweep out the neocons too. We got rid of neoliberals. Let's get rid of neocons. Bang, bang, get them out. There you go. Bye-bye. So I'm not shocked at all.
Neocons can go to either party too. That's the scary part. There's always that's that rhino dino thing where it's the Jersey political machine, they say, is so bad that in Essex County, you can't run as a Republican. You have to be a fake. You have to run as a Democrat and just do all Republican shit because no one will follow up on you if you're in a local office.
It's so crazy, dude. And that is the big thing. Localist. I've been trying to push that. You got to be a localist now. You got to go to your board of education meetings, which I need to start doing, and you got to go to your county meetings. What are those called?
I wrote you in for Board of Ed for Monmouth County, New Jersey, by the way.
What's that?
I wrote you in as the write-in candidate for Monmouth County Board of Education.
Thank you. Yes, sir. I wrote myself in a couple times too for the judges. I'm like, why am I just voting for people I don't know? I'm just gonna vote for myself and see how it works out. So I did get a vote on that. So KP, where do you want to? What do you want to start with, dude? Because you brought in when we were talking before the show, you brought in something about whenever a president is newly elected. Let's get into that. What are your thoughts?
Well, the thing you and I were talking about was the generals. It's always there's always going to be a thing, a president and their generals. It's always going to be the Joint Chiefs, that kind of a thing. But the weird thing that I thought, this was one of the trippiest ones I ever went down. This was an early episode of American Loser, and we covered a guy named James Wilkinson. And I don't know if Johnny wanted to bring him up at all, but James Wilkinson is the most batshit story in American history I've ever heard, because we literally caught him. He was part of 2 conspiracies to overthrow the government. He was also caught as a spy, not once, but twice. And we were such a new country and we didn't have enough generals that we kept putting him in charge and promoting him to bigger and bigger offices.
Unbelievable. Just unbelievable.
Oh, true.
We think like that politics has gotten more corrupt than ever. It's always been corrupt. And like we just see all these Democrats, and we're gonna see it with the Republicans with Israel, but all these it's so funny, dude. The Israelis don't have to send spies. They just do dual citizenship. It's hilarious to me. But you get all of these Democrats, they have Chinese spies. And
so the guy he just pulled up, I'm sorry, I just saw that Johnny pulled it up. He's got the picture of Wilkinson right there. That's our boy. That's our boy, Johnny Wilkinson, or James Wilkinson, rather. These are coasters that we have that are available on the website. And this one says, felt cute, might spy for Spain later.
Yeah.
Dude, this guy was so awful. It was unbelievable. He sold secrets. I think his name was I forget what his name was, Agent 33 or something like that. but he literally would betray early American military interests. This is how bad it was. This is insane. He literally gave away the names and location of the Lewis and Clark expedition and sold it to the Spanish and told them where would be a good place to ambush them and kill them so that they couldn't do a survey of the country. Like, he was trying to stop the Louisiana Purchase. That's what they were all about. And if they had given them correct information, they would have been able to find them. But Lewis and Clark took a different path than they were supposed to. That's the only reason they avoided being killed by Spanish troops, because James Wilkinson leaked all the info out. And he also was part of there was Conway's Cabal, which was an attempt to replace George Washington so that they could have a general that would give them greater titles if they had won the Revolutionary War. And then after the Revolutionary War, he's part of Aaron Burr's conspiracy, which that's the one thing that kills me now. Everybody pretends like they know history. They know history because they saw friggin' Hamilton, but that was a true story, 100% true. Is that this thing called the Burr conspiracy? Aaron Burr tried to overthrow the country, and Wilkinson was all on board with it. But imagine if QAnon was real, Sam, like 100% real.
Okay.
And then at the last minute, the people who were like JFK Jr. does come back, and at the last minute he goes, "Nah, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to rat you guys out. I'm going to turn everybody from QAnon in." And you're like, "But you were the linchpin. You were the most important part of this." That's what Wilkinson did. Oh my
God.
Oh,
he turned on everybody.
Put a dagger right in Aaron Burr's back, got him labeled as a traitor. And then he went to court-martial. The joke about him that was my favorite, we put it in the book too, is that James Wilkinson is a general who never won a battle, but never lost a court-martial, because every time they just didn't have enough evidence to put him away, or Spain would come to his rescue on something. So finally, he winds up in Mexico, and he tries to set himself up as I think this is where he dies. He dies in Mexico, and he was trying to set himself up to be an advisor to the new emperor over there, and he was going to try to start his own country again for the third time. So that's 2 conspiracies, 2 countries that he spied for, and 5 presidents that he betrayed, and he's still considered one of our founding fathers.
Unbelievable.
Yeah,
so they it's like when we do this revisionist history, they love to do revisionist history. They love to take the biggest scumbags and try to make them seem like just the loving of lovers, and they're just so obviously just scumbags. And it's just like, and it's just like, it's just trying to clean up their mess. I mean, like, wow, look at, like, I love Texas. The state of Texas is so amazing. The people are so amazing. And you just watch them give George Bush Jr. like standing O's at sporting events. I go, what are you doing? Why are you clapping for this fucking war criminal clown, dude? It's unbelievable to me, but this is how we do it. We do revisionist history. Ellen DeGeneres hanging out with George Bush in a box. It's crazy. It's just crazy to me. And
Bush is interesting. He was a war criminal and then became a painter. And I know a guy who was a painter that then became a war criminal. I don't know if you guys have heard of him.
Who's that?
Bush just did the opposite of Hitler.
Hitler,
he did a reverse Hitler.
He used to be a painter. He was a painter.
He reversed Hitler. That's so great, dude.
What are you going to do now, George, now that you've just pretty much ruined an entire generation of Iraqi children? I think I'm getting into painting. It's going to be painting.
Who do you think was better painter, Hitler or Bush?
Ooh.
Oh, I've never seen any of Hitler's art. Does anyone ever know what Hitler's art is? There, Johnny? Can we find?
I
Hitler's
think he like
art?
painting like landscapes and like dogs, maybe.
It was landscapes.
The worst kind of paintings.
But I think Hitler's a better painter technically. Like if you see some of his paintings, they're technically just better.
Which is kind of crazy that you brought that up, dude. Because we've been doing some power ranking on genocides, and there's a good chance that tied for 6 is the Jewish Holocaust in Germany and the Iraqi Holocaust, depending on the numbers you do. Some people are now putting the number at 4 mil for both of those.
That's pretty good right there for him.
No, I mean, it's better. If you look at like here, George Bush is, I mean, they're okay, but they're much simpler. Let's see.
Yeah.
This feels like when we're listening to Charles Manson's music that Guns N' Roses covered.
Yeah, this is, yeah.
What?
Did you see? Yeah, they're just.
Yeah.
He painted Putin?
It would appear so. Yeah, there he is.
Hold on, go down. Who is that guy? Who's the black guy? Is that the Sandman or is that Chris Rock? Who's he
Fucking
painting?
George Floyd.
Who is that?
Okay,
Oh, the George Floyd one got me.
now the question is Hunter Biden better than any of them?
Oh, that's a great
Ooh.
question. Let's see some. So we have Hitler's art. We have Hunter Biden's art. Who's the best of the worst? Who's the best?
Well,
of
Hunter
the
Biden's
worst?
doing modern art, so who the fuck knows?
Trash.
No,
He's-
trash.
I'm-
Trash.
oh
Just
yeah.
trash.
Look at him
Crack.
posing. Look at him posing with it. Look at that crazy ass son of
He's
a
like,
bitch.
dude, are we done? Can I smoke crack now?
It's really hard
Please.
to differentiate between him and Hunter S. Thompson at this point for me.
Really?
It's they're just so. If you just pictured, Hunter Biden, first of all, the bathtub photo of him with the cigarette taking the selfie, that was like
Oh,
that was
yeah.
the background on my phone for about a year.
That guy loved to film himself committing crimes. Like nobody snitched on themselves more than Hunter Biden.
Oh, like when that crackhead was weighing out the rock, and she's like, "It's 4.5." He's like, "No, it's 4." There was like, well, they were off by like 1, and they were arguing about this one.
That's a lot. An point ounce is a lot of crack, dog. That's a big difference.
You're a fucking millionaire. Your dad's the president. You're fine. You don't need that. You can go buy
Yeah.
You
some.
think Hunter Biden's a millionaire? You think he's a
What's
millionaire?
that?
You think Hunter Biden's a millionaire?
Yeah.
He strikes
You
me as
said-
the kind of guy who blew all his wealth. And
Yeah, I mean, that could definitely happen, but has he made millions? Yes. What he did with it, who knows? I mean, mostly probably smoked it all away. I mean, I say this on stage, like every time you see his hog, it's huge. And you're like, but he's smoking crack. Like, how good is your coke that you never get coke dick? That's the most amazing thing to me. Like, he was just getting right off the plant cocaine. He was getting shipped right to his house.
That Burisma quality.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
that
shit they
burrito-
found at the White House. How good was the shit they found at the White House?
Well, they say that's they said that was Kamala's.
Really?
Come on, Kumamas. They said it was Kumamas.
If she really was drunk on Xanax the entire campaign, like it makes a lot more sense, and you can actually find her a sympathetic character. You know what I
Listen,
mean?
Any other place doing any other thing, I think we all like Kamala. I like if she's like your next door neighbor, if she's like at the gym, she's one of the other parents at your school. You're like, this chick laughs at everything. She's great. She probably slings a little pee once in a while. It's all good in the hood, dog. But you do not want her to fucking be running for president.
or
Could you imagine,
prosecuting
though?
you. Yeah.
What's
Prosecuting Johnny was right.
Or
Prosecuting
prosecuting
it would be terrible. Oof.
I mean, like, dude, you just listen to people. I go, she argued in court to stop early release out of prison for labor reasons. Like, how is she the liberal? How is she the progressive? How is she the liberal? It's crazy to me. That's my whole thing when I'm
The
going on
dance
stage.
from Black Lives Matter to that it's some of the most incredible gymnastics I've ever seen. The
It's
people were
so-
taking Black Lives Matter signs off their lawn and then putting Harris Waltz signs on within a year. Within a year, they're doing this. We support everyone.
But these are the same people that look at January 6th as like the worst event of their lives, while totally like sending money in to get BLM rioters out of jail who just burnt down their neighborhoods. Like the mental gymnastics on that is just insanity. It's just insanity.
You know what I would have loved though if Kamala had won? You know who has the greatest story ever? If Kamala won the presidency, you get to then interview what was it, Montel Williams? Montel dated her, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Montel gets to sit there, but he's like, You guys ever get your dick sucked?
Like,
Yeah. You ever get your dick sucked by the leader of the free world? As I have. The president sucked my dick once.
Yeah. Dude, that would be crazy.
be
Everyone's
doing
trying to
Def
figure
Jam.
out who's Eskimo brothers. Did you hit it? I hit it. You hit it. I hit it. We all hit
Dude.
it.
All of a sudden,
That's-
everybody comes out and everyone hits it.
Then people are making weird charts. 5 degrees of Kamala Harris's vagina, and it's just like this weird, and it's a spider web that's wide.
Kevin Bacon's in the middle for no reason.
For no reason. Montel Jordan. Well, the word is like the other woman in the
Montel
picture
Williams.
isn't his girlfriend.
Montel Williams, I'm sorry.
Michael Jordan back in the day would have hit that, by the way.
Montel Jordan.
Everybody would. Young Kamal, everybody be knocking bottoms out of it. Come on. That's the hottest. And dude, Indian chicks are so interesting. They're either they look like they're being held hostage at a 7-Eleven behind the counter, or they're complete and utter smoke shows. Like the most gorgeous people on the planet.
Indian.
10s or 2s, they don't come in between.
Yeah, dude, that's true. They're 10s or 2s, dude. 100%. Okay, so let's get back to the politics. So this general was, I mean, it's just crazy to me. I think we've been romanticizing how there was like integrity back in the day. And I think there was just as much corruption. There's obviously not as many people, but there's just as much corruption. It's just because the internet, we never learned about it.
I think it was Robert Morris who, for the longest time, because obviously the dojo is in Morris Plains, which is in Morris County. And I thought that it was named after, I always get them confused. It's Robert and Samuel Morris. But Robert Morris was the guy who helped fund the American Revolution. So picture Shark Tank, and Thomas Jefferson has to present to his millionaires. And this guy, Robert Morris, is the only guy that's like, yeah, I'll help. I'm going to sign on with you. I believe in what your idea is. And we robbed that guy blind. We took him for every penny he was worth. We couldn't pay him back. I think Congress wound up giving him a house eventually that he was able to live in. But I swear to God, this is 100% true. He wound up in debtor's prison because he bankrupted himself funding the American Revolution. There's like historical paintings of him digging in his back.
Name?
It's Robert Morris. Morris, Morris. It's either Robert or Samuel Morris. I forget his first name. I really apologize. But he literally, we put him in debtor's prison because he couldn't pay back the debts that he owed. We wound up giving him like an estate that he was able to live on. And eventually when he got out of debtor's prison, but he's painted into the Capitol building. He's painted into that giant painting up on the ceiling of the Capitol, and he's holding 2 money bags in it. And the story was that anytime we needed money, they would go to him, and he would like literally, he went into his deep, deep reserve of money to try to help fund the revolution. He dug into the backyard and showed, like, guys, don't tell anybody, but this is where I keep my gold doubloons. He literally went like an old pirate and dug up in his backyard and gave the money. Goes, all right, go build a U.S. Navy. And he went so bankrupt, we threw him in debtor's prison for a little while. He eventually got out, but he completely ruined his life and pretty much bankrolled America. And the only guy I can think of that did that and didn't wind up bankrupt doing it was J.P. Morgan later. So we've been doing this same playbook since the inception of the country.
The French too. I mean, think about the French. We turned our backs on them almost immediately when they were. I mean, it depends on who you think the loyalty of the government was in France. But if you think it was to the people of France, we immediately turned our backs on them when they asked for assistance.
That's what led to the downfall of the monarchy for them. They couldn't pay back their own stuff. And then I think our loophole was, well, we borrowed money from the monarchy. You guys aren't even the monarchy anymore.
Yeah. Just crazy. I mean,
so that's so crazy to me that a guy funds the war and we win the war and then we throw him in jail when we should have been like, let's start a GoFundMe for this guy who we got out of jail.
He should have been on the currency. And instead we're just like, no, dude, you got to listen. You got to pay your debts, buddy. Everybody goes to jail for a little bit. You won't go for long. All right. Relax.
Oh my God. Kamala is just struggling right now, down 20 mil out of unbelievable, of 1 billion people, dude. Oh, that was a joke I wanted to talk about on stage yesterday. It's like, I want to go Kamala Harris broke. Like, I want to have $1 billion and end up 20 million in the hole. Like the amount of money you could spend on, like, dude, what you could buy, just have a great Mike Tyson, that shit. Why struggle? Just go 400 mil in the hole, just buying whatever the fuck you want, whenever the fuck you want it. And then you got to fight Jake Paul for 20 mil. I'm in. Let's go. Maybe Kamala Harris should be fighting Jake Paul right now. Maybe Kamala Harris should be fighting Jake Paul.
You should start an OnlyFans. Start paying that off.
Do you think Trump was serious about paying off the campaign?
Yeah, I think
I
so.
think
Yeah,
so.
I think he was.
I
Serious.
think so.
They can never accept it though, right? They can't accept it, right? Like,
Oh, they'll totally accept it.
you think they will?
I think he helped Hillary in her first one.
You don't think they'll
Or
say
Obama.
like,
Somebody did.
This is
Somebody helped
blood
him.
money. You don't think they'll be like, this is blood money?
No, dude, they
Money's
have
money.
no fucking.
Money's money.
I
They
bet
have
you
no
they-
Lizard
honor,
people.
dude.
I bet you they don't accept it. I bet you they don't accept it. We'll see, but I doubt.
So they're not going to pay people.
No, they'll find a way to pay it, but not from Trump. No.
Who's going to pay it off when there's no political gain at the end of it?
Julia Roberts.
Julia Roberts. She's going to do one more movie with George Clooney that no one will watch, that the money launder $1 bazillion to.
They really are the biggest losers of the whole election. Was that whole crew that tried to come together for her? It just reeked of desperation. I think it's finally over. I think they're done trying to court Hollywood. I think that ship has sailed.
What do you think Hollywood is done?
I think that they have to see the return on their investment, and they can see that it's been piss poor, because it's you can talk about new media all you want and stuff, but old media just looked so pathetic. I mean, you're taking a guy that I love. Like, I love Jeff Bridges. The Big Lebowski's an all-timer.
Yeah. And it just shoots them. It just destroys their ability to play any more characters. There's a reason why you never got involved politically. Robert De Niro, I was doing Jimmy Dore's show. He's talking about Robert De Niro refused to do interviews during his heyday because he knew that he was just some super libtard, and he was playing all these tough, hard characters. And if people really understood who he was, they wouldn't buy him in the character. And it's
You think that's what happened to Brando then? Because Brando was incredibly political. So was Paul Newman and those guys.
Yeah, but Brando went nuts.
That's what I'm saying. You think because they kind of faded. Both of them had careers.
Yes.
Where their careers faded.
Yes.
Was Newman big politically? Because I think Redford was always openly about it.
Redford was too, yeah.
Yeah, because Paul Newman was interesting, because Paul Newman, everybody loves him, and everybody should, I think. I can't think of like something bad that guy did. And then that the Newman's Own charity is one of like the few good ones. But also, side note, Sam, you killed it on Rumble Time. I loved you on Jimmy Dores. You were great.
Thank you, dude.
Yeah, he was
thank
big
you,
time.
dude.
He was major political activist. Paul Newman, yeah, for sure.
It also
that's why.
depends, dude, what characters you play and what politics you have. Right? Like, if your politics don't meet up with with the characters you play, it's hard to get behind you on that.
It's Matt Damon and Ben Affleck for me. I can't, like, when they try to play like I'm like a hard ass, you know what I mean? I'm a hard ass.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, buddy. Like, maybe you're rough at a Patriots tailgate, but stop. Like, that's about it.
I saw this interesting stat the other day. This is the first time in decades the Democrats don't have an heir apparent politically. Like, it's coming out of every election loss over the past like 20, 30 years, they had someone who had more than 25% support in the party, and they don't have anybody on deck right now. It's like scramble time. Like, they're fucked. Who would it be? It's Newsom, right? I think it's Newsom.
Newsom's going to make a run at it for sure. I don't know who else was in that group that wanted to get on there.
But if you think back, it was like Clinton twice. It was Obama because of his speech at the it was the last time, actually.
Because he's a Bush.
It was 92 was the last time, and that's when Clinton came through. So that was the last time they didn't have an heir apparent, was Clinton in 92.
A lot of people were banking on Michelle running, and it was apparently she wanted nothing to do with it. And then I don't know if it was like the definite. And by the way, I would also put Jill Biden up there. Jill Biden was a hot first lady. I won't lie.
Jill Biden?
Jill had something to her.
Not while she was the late
he's
first
talking
lady.
now. He's talking now.
You're talking now. What are you, a gilf hunter?
I would take Jill Biden right now. There's certain
you would
things
take Jill Biden. You would
okay.
go to Pound Town.
You don't think there's a Nina Hartley quality to her?
I'm not against that, bro. I'm not against that. I'm not against that, dude. I mean, Jackie Onassis was easily the best.
I mean, Melania's got to be up there.
Melania's number one, right? Number
on,
one with a bullet. That was my old joke. She's the number one gold digger of all time. Like, nobody.
She's way too old. No, dude, no way I'm digging down Jill Biden.
But isn't it crazy how, like, he started hitting that when she was a teenager and she's been with him the whole time? It's so
His,
crazy.
you ever see the photo of Joe Biden being sworn into Congress, his first term?
No.
I'm sure.
Sam, Johnny, do you know this one? One of you guys is going to know this one because this, I'm telling you, like, this actually like messed me up when I found it out. If you can find the photo of Joe Biden being sworn in to his first term,
Yeah, I have it here. Okay.
It's
Okay.
no, his first term in Congress.
Senate.
Oh, in
And-
Congress.
Oh.
Yeah, as when he because I believe he was a senator for Delaware, and I believe it was. And if you see it, he's actually being sworn in the hospital.
Oh, yes, I see right here. Okay.
It's a very creepy photo. So
What
he's
the
being
fuck?
sworn in the hospital. Click on that one that you can actually see. I believe that's Hunter.
Yeah, it's a medical.
Uh,
It says right here. Wilmington
so
Medical Center.
in 72, his first wife died in that car accident.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I believe I think he lost one of the kids in there, and that's either Hunter or Beau Biden that's in that picture. And they photo opt him being sworn in with the injured children that are in there. And I don't know what message they were trying to say. If they were trying to be like, this man believes in his country so much that nothing's going to get in the way of this. How we get, but the idea that you could utilize the biggest tragedy of the man's life, was that somebody sending a message, or was that being like, hey, by the way, this guy's he has no soul. He's up for grabs on anything.
And it's also like, that whole thing with you sacrifice one family member.
Oh, this is horrible.
It really, the whole thing messed me up. You were saying about sacrifice a family member, though?
Yeah,
Sammy? What do you
there's
got?
like all these famous people have like this weird kind of famous death in their family. Well, family,
Kanye West.
all of them.
Oh yeah.
That's an Eyes Wide Shut theory too, by the way. That movie coming back into the mainstream again right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's like kind of crazy, right? And it's just, and then you realize she was his babysitter.
Oh, Jill was the babysitter.
Yeah, you can see
Yeah.
pictures of Jill as the babysitter, and she's super young, dude. And then
It's,
out of nowhere, she's like, "I'm a doctor." You're like, "In what? Don't worry about it." And then it's just the doctor.
What's up with the panda thing? I'm still freaked out about the
what is
panda thing.
that,
That was so
bro?
weird.
What was that? Everybody on the internet went nuts.
What
It's
are
like
you
I
John-
thought
talking?
that was
But-
the DNC had made her show up. That's my belief. I should.
Was
I
it
should
the
preface that.
Halloween? What? Why did they? What was the event? I forget.
So it was the official White House Halloween, I believe, and they brought out for all pomp and ceremony. So meaning that they would play "Hail to the Chief," and there's a big entrance of Joe Biden walking in with Jill Biden, and he's dressed normal. He's the president, and it's the Halloween thing, and she's dressed up in a full top to bottom panda suit, not like I have panda ears on or a panda on my shirt. She's dressed as a full on panda, and I legitimately believe that that's the DNC sitting there like, hey, remember when you tried to give us a hard time about this shit? Remember when you're trying to like save your save your husband's presidency? Here's our last little FU. You have to dress up as a panda on national television. This is their last fuck you to her. That's what I think this is.
Dude, and
I've
you
heard
know
worse.
what guys know what the panda symbolism is,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So gross.
No, you're right. Because as a female, you don't want the last time of you that you're seen as in a costume. You want to look beautiful, elegant as the lady, first lady at one point. That's
So creepy.
weird.
And then they had like an event recently, and they had Kamala and Jill sitting next to each other, and you could just tell they don't like each other anymore because
Oof.
none of them, those two both wanted to run for president. And they're like, nope, we're gonna get in this dumpster fire of a person in, and it's towards the end she banned him from campaigning because she totally kneecapped him. I mean, he totally kneecapped her with the Tony Hinchcliffe thing when they were going to ride out the Puerto Rico's garbage, and then the next day he's like, Puerto Rico's not garbage. All of his followers are garbage. They're so garbage. And then he just kneecapped all that momentum.
I was on a pretty strong edible a while back, and my girlfriend caught me because I started making Joe Biden faces.
Yeah.
That's it. She just saw me start going.
So they're not garbage. Here's garbage.
KP, are you on an edible? Are you on an edible? We finally beat Medicare.
Okay.
Do you recall how they used to talk about Reagan toward the end about how he had lost it and he was incompetent? I mean,
Yeah.
the Democrats will never have any credibility again to talk about someone being incompetent after this. It's I mean, with
got to
Trump,
live long
they want to
enough.
start talking about Trump because they're trying to say that about Trump, that that was the thing that idiots like Keith Olbermann would say, oh, look at Trump, he's losing it. But as soon as that debate happened, immediately they all stopped talking.
Well, and also, like, the guy's so smart, regardless of what you think of his cabinet right now, and we all agree there's a lot of garbage in there.
Yes.
To do a 3-hour podcast with Joe Rogan just basically put Kamala Harris in a very bad spot, in which she completely and utterly fell. Like, she should have just gone on there and you got to be able to talk, lady. I just don't understand how you can't riff.
Well, have you seen the latest story that Bill Clinton went to the campaign and said, listen, you have got to get out in front of this trans shit. It's going to tank your campaign. You have to distance yourself from those comments. You have to address it and say, hey, we're not for this radical trans agenda shit. And they told him to go kick rocks, basically. The campaign told him to go fuck himself.
Are you mansplaining to me?
Yeah. Bill
on
Clinton,
my own campaign?
Most successful Democratic politician of our lifetimes.
I'd love to see Bill talk his way. If he could, Bill could probably sell that. He was a crafty salesman. He could probably find a way. I love trans people. I mean, they're great. They make wonderful. They're never going to have a baby. I never have to worry about a child out of wedlock with them because they're not real. Or are they? Or are they?
They can keep a secret too. They never snitch.
What'd you think of Biden becoming lucid suddenly for that last he gave? I mean, he sounded better than he'd sounded in years. That last speech he gave. What do you make of that?
Oh, I gotta watch it now.
Yeah,
no,
go check
I
it
haven't.
out. I mean, it's shockingly lucid where he's welcoming Trump and saying it's a time of peaceful transition, saying all the right things, and he was.
He had one great quote. I think I did see this. He had one great quote that I liked.
What was it?
It was I think the quote was, he goes, "You can't only love your country when you win." And I sat there, I was like, "That's a great quote, man. Thank you." I don't want to hate the guy. He made me hate him. That was the problem. Like I was
Biden.
Oh yeah, Joe Biden was deplorable.
He shouldn't have ran. Like, dude, nobody wanted him. It was just like they needed somebody in there that they could manipulate to get the Ukraine stuff going. That's it.
They had nobody else. I mean, nobody.
Hey, what do you guys think about this right here? Oh, is it short? Should Joe Biden resign and let Kamala Harris serve as the 47th president of the U.S.?
Yeah, I've seen that and putting her on the Supreme Court. I've also
just to take the 47th. So what that makes him the 48th?
That's what people are forgetting. He doesn't. Yeah, he
doesn't like her. He didn't want her as vice president. They made him take her.
Isn't that a great FU though? President. Where he's like, "You deal with him. You assist his transition team."
Yeah, I mean they don't like her. She doesn't like him.
That was the plot from Veep though.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
That was a plot point.
Snippet of Biden.
Yeah, it's good to see you all. Particularly good to see my granddaughter sitting in the front row here. Hi, Finn. How are you, honey? For over 200 years, America has carried on the greatest experiment in self-government in the history of the world. And that's not hyperbole. That's a fact. We're the people.
Hyperbole.
The people vote and choose their own leaders, and they do it peacefully. And we're in a democracy. The will of the people always prevails. Yesterday, I spoke with President-elect Trump to congratulate him on his victory. And I assured him that I'd direct my entire administration to work with his team to ensure a peaceful and orderly transition. That's what the American people deserve. Yesterday, I also spoke with Vice President Harris. She's been a partner and a public servant. She ran an inspiring campaign, and everyone got to see something that I learned early on to respect so much.
That she's garbage. Can't answer questions.
Like a ramrod. She has great character, true character. She gave her whole heart and effort and she and her entire team should be proud of the campaign they ran.
Anyway, you see, I mean, he's not stumbling over.
What's
This is the guy who couldn't complete a sentence for the past year, and he's just tearing through the speech. I'm curious to say the
That's
least.
what happened.
Kaiser Soze us.
Yeah,
That's what happens when you fully charge the robot. Just fully charge the motherfucker.
They've been running him down. Is that what you're saying? That's fine.
He was starting to glitch there. His eye was starting to glitch. And by the way, he has straight up Beavis and Butthead eyes. Did you see that, dude? Oh.
Yeah, I think it's because it was outside, and he's got all those wrinkles that he's tried to fix with surgeries and stuff. So, like,
But dude, the notion that he should step down and just give it to her
crazy.
is the most hilarious thing ever.
Somebody who the people didn't vote for. We literally just had the chance to elect her. Why would you make her president? Doesn't make any sense.
Kamala is like a female comic. She just thinks she deserves to be put into stuff because she's a female and there's never been a guy there, right? She's like, you should just put me in because that would be fair and nice. You're like, no, that's not how it fucking goes. And that they don't want equality. They want special treatment. That's exactly what that is. They want special treatment.
Well, the female comic line got me because they always step on everybody else who was before them and act like they were never there. Where the argument I've heard made, because Johnny was talking about it before, they said that Reagan was so scattered in the last years of his second term because he was old. Obviously, he had some dementia issues like that and everything. And you could make if you wanted to attack that, you had every right to do so. But some people spun that and they said, yeah, it was true. For a while, Nancy Reagan was actually kind of the leader of the free world. That was the spin move they were trying to put on it for it was actually Nancy Reagan that was doing it. So they played it up as a positive. And then you forget about all the stuff from before that. And then when you were talking about the female comic thing, it's like every female comic is like, I don't understand why there's not a show. If we had a show like Louis had a show, or if I had a show where I was doing this, I grew up, my mom loved I Love Lucy. We watched that shit all the time.
Yeah.
Right. The Mary Tyler Moore show was hilarious. There was so many things we watched.
No, dude. The best example of what you're talking about is Tim Dillon and Whitney Cummings. And I love Whitney Cummings. Nobody's perfect. It's so funny. Like last time she did my show and I was blessed she was in it. And, she was doing jokes in the main room about why guys are jealous of trans dicks. And then she had a kid and now she's like, why are trans reading to my kids at school? You know what I'm saying? Like that kid just pulled out all of the progressivism and just
it's called the placenta, Sam. It's called the placenta, not progressivism.
They took that placenta and set it on fire. Okay. It's on fire.
Great, by the way. I have to say, I saw a video. I mean,
she has a kid and she's getting a regular dick. She couldn't be happier. Like
really good.
She won in life. Her, Liza Schlesinger, they all won in life. They all just held off having kids for as long as they could. And then they had a kid. And now they're happy. And all the people that they told not to have kids, I go, well, I thought we weren't having kids. And it's like, good luck. Have a good time. But
and it's easy for them to get a man when they're 30 and kind of rich and famous. And the other 30-year-old and the other 30-year-olds that they sold out to.
Everyone's saucing at that point. But yeah, it's so funny too. It's like, I guarantee you Joe Rogan didn't get $1 from Donald Trump to do his podcast. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
Didn't get $1. Right?
The Call Her Daddy girl got money from
and
Convoy
that is
too,
the
right?
most female comic shit I've ever heard in my life, by the way. I can't tell you how many times I've had female comics who are 3 years in going, how much does it pay? Nothing. It pays with stage time. Get the fuck on stage. It makes me laugh. It's just like that. When I heard that, I go, yeah, that's what females do. Females put up how much money am I gonna make and all that shit. I mean, I don't want to
okay, let's say is there a price? Is there a price to go on Rogan's? Would you say would you say that Trump should have gave him something? I mean, it did fucking help him, but do you think there's a price though? But do you think there's a price? Do you think for something like that?
How much would it cost if we put $1 value on it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If there was a value on it, because you can't Rogan don't give a fuck if you pay him. I'm just saying, do you think there's a value to going on Rogan's? Was there a number to it?
I mean, dude, I mean, you're gonna think I'm nuts. What's it, $1 billion? I mean, like, you reached a 150 million people. I don't know what the number was at when
Yeah,
it just came out. If you put Twitter X of Joe Rogan and Elon Musk on there, it was up to 120 million a week out. It's been a couple weeks now.
Yeah.
So
Think about what you would pay for an ad that reached that many people that would only last 90 seconds nationwide.
Now,
You know,
whole
60
3 hours.
seconds.
Super Bowl numbers. What are the
Yeah.
what are you paying for an ad?
On the
3
s-
million, 6 million?
And you're on there for 3 hours, and it's a captive
Yeah.
audience. I mean, it's like
That's great. Yeah, there's no number.
it's yeah. I mean, and yeah, I wouldn't even say I like. Would you? I wouldn't say that was a knock it out of the park interview either. Trump had, you could tell he was kind of wearing down toward the end of the campaign. He was a little lower energy than normal.
Yeah,
But he did a good enough job and proved he could do it. He was willing to do it. That was the most important thing. Just to
Well,
sit down for 3 hours.
just completely kneecapped. Again, Kamala Harris, it goes, I'm 70 some. I just did 3 hours. How
Exactly.
many hours you gonna do, bitch?
And then they did this brilliant, and I say brilliant sarcastically, political move where they said, well, we'll agree to do it. Rogan just has to come to us because I'm the vice president and it will only be an hour.
And also that they have editing. They
Yeah.
can improve. They can edit.
which
It's
is-
like, no, I mean, dude, it's the crazy. I'm gonna make the craziest statement. The fucking Kamala needed Joe Rogan more than Joe Rogan needed Kamala.
yep.
You know?
Is anybody gonna give Trump props because he didn't have to pee? I would have had to pee before, after, during. I would have told. I mean, unless the edit was good and Jamie edited that out, I did not see Trump say I need to go pee.
I've peed twice since we've started
Ooh.
recording today.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. You got to give the guy credit for being that old and having a bladder like that.
Alex Jones having to pee on Joe Rogan was probably the hardest I've ever laughed ever, because it's the only I felt for him and I was like, dude, I have to pee too. And if I don't pee, like, first of all, you understand that the pee's going to come forward. Like, it's coming out of you no matter what. There's no way around that. And then the good part was Trump answers so circularly on everything that he was actually buying his own time. So he probably thought about asking to pee. He goes, if I can just hit this one point, let's talk about Mike Pompeo for a minute. He goes, all right, boom, I'll forget about having to pee now. So I didn't even think about it. But to be a man in your 70s and to not pee, XG's on it, man. That's
I don't know. That's
dude,
pretty
during
robot.
my-
I mean,
Kill Tony episode, the last hour and a half, I'd say last hour, I had to piss so badly. You notice I'm in none of the pictures after where they get everybody who was on it in the pictures because I had to run and I took the 10-minute piss. I just sat there unloading.
Oh, dude, I thought you were going to say you Fergied it and you just pissed right underneath the table while you were a judge.
That would have been so hilarious.
I've
it would
done
have gone
that. I've
viral.
done
Tony,
that.
Tony loves that shit though. As much as you think it'd kill the show, Tony would be like, "No way."
It's
Sam
just
Tripoli
crazy.
pissing under the table right now.
Yeah, I'm doing it as we speak. So what other crazy historical stories do you have in your book? What's your favorite ones? Any of them?
Well, the one that you inspired was Jack Parsons. We went in on him, and his whole life is terrifying. And then it's
Why is it terrifying?
well, because it's so out and like it's so honest how they do it. They're like, listen, this guy was brilliant and he practiced black magic and he figured out rocket power. Essentially, he figured out rocketry, and he corresponded with a lot of people that went in to do Operation Paperclip, and then were obviously part of the Nazi Party prior to that. And also, he got really into doing drugs and hallucinogens and ritual black magic, featuring like ritualistic sex at the Temple of Thelema, and Aleister Crowley's involved. And then he gets betrayed, and he's in a group marriage thing, and his wife leaves him for a false prophet known as L. Ron Hubbard, who
Yeah,
starts.
dude, that is so crazy.
I
so
sat there.
crazy.
I was like, no, somebody's messing with me. There's no way somebody Wikipedia'd what I'm reading right now. And then you're like, nope. Jack Parsons, the reason why we have an International Space Station, got pretty much cucked out by L. Ron Hubbard, who wrote Dianetics and Battlefield Earth, and started his entire fleet for the Sea Force or whatever it was called. He started that with Jack Parsons' money that was supposed to be given to him to help fund research for rocket science in America. So we put a man on the moon, if you believe in that. I know there's some contrarian opinions on that. But we've put people into space. There's the idea we've at least had rockets that have gone into space, and it's because of a man who essentially worshipped the devil and smoked a lot of crazy substances and took part in like large black mass orgies. So everything, all the stuff that they talk about from the satanic panic of the 90s, it was real, and it was just being celebrated as NASA.
Satanic Panic was a giant psyop that got itself ready for what we just went through the last 4 years, which was to convince people that the whole Satanic Panic thing was bullshit. And that people aren't worshiping Satan. These are just crazy Christians. So all that was bullshit. Because if you even study the West Memphis 3, there's a good chance those guys did it. And there's a good chance because Damian Nichols or whatever his name
Damian
is.
Eccles, you're saying for real? You think he did it?
Yeah.
Whoa, dude. All right. Shout out to my boy, Andy Highroller. He made me watch all 3 of those documentaries during COVID. Holy shit. I've never heard somebody say they did it.
Dude, I can hook you up with a guy that I have 2 people that have been on my show that have talked about when you actually listen to the interrogation tapes, he knows all these details that nobody but the killer would know.
Whoa. Because they framed the one dad at the end, I think, right? Holy shit.
Look at all the people who came out for the West Memphis 3. They're all suspect now. They're all shady ass motherfuckers up to no good, And even like Johnny Depp, who obviously was the end of some weird shit with Amber Heard. Like it would take somebody like Amber Heard to make Johnny Depp look like a good guy.
Right on.
Right?
Yeah.
So I'm not saying he's a bad guy. I'm just saying he might be into some shady shit. And I've just had William Ramsey's come on and talked about, and William Ramsey pulls no punches. He's like, those motherfuckers did it. And he has a great crime podcast where he studies all that shit. And we've had other people on who've talked about how, like, yeah, dude, those guys 100% did it. And they had they knew details that nobody else knew about. And I think Eccles like basically alludes to it sometimes about all the dark sorcery he's in.
He's not helping himself. I'll say that much. His Instagram account, if you follow it, he's just doing like, it's always ritualistic magic stuff or going into astrology and stuff like that. The dark magician alludes to this or whatever. And he's, his wife is, first of all, his kid from the first one's got to be in her 20s now, right? Do you guys know about Johnny and XG? Do you guys know the story or no?
Of what? The West Memphis?
Not like that.
I mean, I've seen all the documentaries and everything. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So I just want to make sure we weren't just, Sam and I weren't on some weird.
No. I was here for the episodes that he's talking about too, where I'm not necessarily convinced of their guilt, just because I know that police you can't trust what you see in an interrogation clip. They feed suspects lines, information before, and then start recording once they've done that. So I don't necessarily believe that because they might have had knowledge of the crime scenes and stuff that they were guilty.
Yeah, I never heard anybody say that they thought the kids did it. So Sam Tripoli, you are the first man. You're going to make me look at this case with a new set of eyes now.
Can I turn you on to a guy? You should, I mean, it might not fit your podcast, but maybe you could do an interview. William Ramsey. You should look up.
William Ramsey, 100%. Babe, William Ramsey.
Babe.
We got to go.
And Damian Eccles' kid is like 21 now, I believe. Yeah.
Wow.
No, I'm sorry. Let's see. He was born in 93, so I'm sorry, 31. Yeah, 31.
That's insane, dude. That's insane. I remember Eddie Vedder showing up in the courtroom for that thing. That was crazy.
Oh, yeah, wow. I mean, that's just some weird ass shit.
Could do without
weird ass shit.
Anyways, Pearl Jam. Anyway,
so, going back to Jack Parsons, the fact that this is all you need to know about L. Ron Hubbard is Aleister Crowley contacted Jack Parsons because they knew each other and was like, dude, that guy's shady as shit. NASA and the occult, bro. Have you heard the new theory that a gentleman came on and talked about on my show?
What's the new theory?
NASA is the head of all the intelligence agencies. It is the head snake.
that does not. I'll tell you what, I got. This is my favorite. So I lived in Jacksonville, Florida. We used to do gigs down in Cocoa Beach sometimes, and there was a huge thing when NASA left Cocoa Beach because it was known as the Space Coast, and people were sitting there and they were heartbroken that NASA was leaving. And one of my best friends, one of my favorite comics, his name is Chris Buck. He went up on stage there and he goes, "What are you guys sad about NASA leaving for?" He goes, do they deserve every terrible thing that could happen to them? And they think he's going to go and he goes, "They killed a school teacher on national television and got away with it."
So if you study space, space is the only thing that all of these countries all agree upon. I mean, if we got a space station and Russia and the United States are working together on a space station, but that on land, they're threatening nuclear war to each other.
Yeah.
They're on the verge of World War III, but somehow in space, they're like, let's just get along. My friend, you are correct. We will get along and we will do it in space. You're like, okay, gotcha.
Antarctica too, right? Isn't there a whole agreement?
Antarctica in space, dude.
Really?
That's it.
Just watch The Thing the other day again. Makes me think of it every time.
Yep, dude. It's weird ass shit, dude.
How plugged in do you think John Carpenter was, by the way?
What?
Like in terms of directors that can know stuff, like John Carpenter and James Cameron are two guys that I always think are plugged in. David Lynch too, where they know something and they're not allowed to talk about it because they're all studying like
Kubrick too, I would say.
100%.
Kubrick for sure.
He knew stuff. And then obviously there's always the creepy thing about how he died a few days after Eyes Wide Shut came out. But David Lynch talks about the way that Hollywood works, where remember they're going to cast, I think it was in Mulholland Drive, they were going to cast a certain person in a movie or something. They said, no, that person's no good. And this just weird cowboy arrives and goes, no, you're going to do this. And they never explain who he is. He's just a dark mystic force.
What?
Twin Peaks, they allude to interdimensional travel, all this other stuff. James Cameron's always been like 40 years ahead on the future for everything he's supposed to talk about. And John Carpenter gets slept on all the time for this one. John Carpenter's The Thing. He figured it out, man. He's like, yeah, there's stuff going on in the Antarctic that we don't know about, and they don't want us to ever find out about. And they're just going to keep it isolated down there. And then he did another movie, I think the same year that he did Big Trouble in Little China. It was called Prince of Darkness. And he essentially figures out that, what was it? He read a book on, I'm trying to remember. I think it was nuclear physics.
Dude, you're nailing this. You're 100% correct.
they're
John
all plugged in.
Carpenter is so plugged into everything. I mean, the most conspiracy movie of all time. They Live.
It's so on the nose that I literally didn't mention it. What's on me, dude? They Live is 100% there. Prince of Darkness was nuts because it showed what was his conspiracy in there. He read about something. I can't remember what. He finally tried to understand physics, I guess. And then they were talking about dark matter and antimatter. He goes, "Oh, that's got to be evil, right?" And they're like, "Well, no, not necessarily." He goes, "No, that's evil. I've heard about this in the Bible before." And he linked the Bible up to, this weird substance that's growing in the church. Have you seen the movie or no?
What, They Live?
No, Prince of Darkness.
Oh.
No, I don't think I have seen a movie.
No.
Super slept on Carpenter movie. He was way too smart for. His idea was too big to be captured in a 1987 movie. I'll put it that way, but it's unnerving still. And it's essentially, he's saying that science is the answer to how to solve evil trying to come in through another dimension. And it's all there. He's as plugged in as anybody I've ever seen, man. And I think that's why they ruined his life. New York's a penal colony. Do you believe it?
It's crazy, dude. It's crazy. I just had this guy again. We mentioned him on the last episode. It's actually coming after this episode, but this Ben Bumgarner, and he was talking about how like he actually believes that the Tower of Babel wasn't a giant building that went high, but it was actually a fucking a CERN type thing, a portal, and that these, I mean, like you look at CERN, the statue is the destroyer, Shiva the destroyer, and like And like the destroyers mentioned constantly over and over and over and over and over again in different religions and with different names, the destroyer, the destroyer, the destroyer. And he thinks this is what they're going to do. This is how they're going to let other entities enter into this dimension. And CERN, Eddie Bravo thinks CERN is just a giant money laundering thing, but I don't know, man. Something tells me it's Switzerland where all the evil comes out of. We think it's Switzerland, like, oh, Swiss Miss Pudding Girl and all that shit, right? But it's like really, it's like the shadiest fucking place ever. All the lizard demon people are there, and it's like it fits into what you were just talking about, Carpenter, about battling these interdimensionals coming into this realm. Like, is that what's going to happen out of CERN? That's what they keep talking about. And like pretty soon these things might be roaming the earth.
I'm not afraid until
I'm
not afraid maybe 20 years from now. I have some faith because he had a son, so I feel like we're going to be protected. But essentially, Kurt Russell is the reason why the realm has not fallen. Kurt Russell is the only thing holding us back from the end of days.
I'm listening. Explain.
Oh, he's the hero in all the John Carpenter movies. He's the only guy. When he
and Roddy Piper, who's no longer with us. Rest in peace, Piper.
Roddy was the greatest.
The original podcaster, by the way. Piper's Pit is the original podcast.
He's really a Kurt Russell type too, when you think about it. I mean, he's
Kurt Russell played Roddy Piper. Roddy Piper never played Kurt Russell. Don't you ever?
That's right. That. Roddy Piper, the only man that could be. He's what was he? He represented 3 nations at once. He was Canadian, but he was a Scottish hero in America.
Yeah, for sure. And it's very interesting you bring up Kurt Russell, because Kurt Russell's a big, and I don't know if they're going to bring it back, Apple, but Project Monarch, which is the Godzilla TV show on Apple, which a lot of people believe that the monsters of that are all Nephilims.
Whoa, okay. I think his son's in it too, right?
Yes, his son plays him, a younger guy.
Oh, that's hilarious then. Dude, that's Kurt Russell's the shit. He's one of the, if Kurt Russell came out and said, I'm endorsing Kamala Harris, there'd be part of me that'd be like, all right, is she really, maybe she's wonderful, because Kurt Russell has never been wrong for me. And at the same time, I would sit there and be like, what did you do? What dirt do they have?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Are you threatening Goldie Hawn's life? Because he'll endorse you right now, but within 90 days, there's going to be a severed head rolling down the stairs, and Kurt Russell's going to make everything right again.
I'm 100% Tombstone, all about Tombstone. He was great in that.
Oh, that was a fantastic film. Oh,
yeah.
I haven't watched it in so long, but I used to watch it all the time. Loved it. He was also good in that. What was it the Vanishing? Was he in that? Remember, it was the one where his like girl disappears.
Breakdown.
Yeah, because I confuse it with The Vanishing. They're very similar films. Yeah, Breakdown. I enjoyed that when my dad would take me to see completely age inappropriate films when I was a kid. He'd just take me to see whatever he was seeing, and that was one of those. I had to be like 5 or 6. But yeah, Breakdown. That was a good one.
Breakdown's dark, man. It's and it's entirely plausible too.
Very
you
dark.
just the people that are trying to help you are out to get you. And that's what you got to be the most concerned about. The helping hand is the one prepared to stab you.
Was it who's the villain in that? It was hold on.
There was a couple. There was I want to say, what's his name is in it. The guy who was the pilot from Con Air. Their evil pilot, the con pilot.
Oh, God. Sorry, I'm pulling up this now.
Yeah, his name's like Gator or something like that. By the way, Sam, Con Air is the movie that people with ADHD, it's like smooth jazz to them.
Why?
My girlfriend, who I love to death, has severe ADHD and she can't watch movies because she just winds up getting bored or something like that, or doing something else. Con Air is so overwhelming of the senses that it just calms ADHD people. They're like, this is like smooth jazz. I'm in a cafe along the river right now eating, beignets. And
one of my favorite bits I ever did was that Nicolas Cage is a time traveler who's come here to warn us about the future, because everyone in Nicolas Cage's movies is warning us about a threat to humanity. You name the movie, it's a lesson to learn about the elites, and it's all of them. All of them. I don't care what it is. Raising Arizona is about human trafficking. Okay, that's what that's about. And you can go through all
Nailed
of it.
Oh man, you're a face off. Obviously,
makes me worry about
that's cloning. That's AI.
Longlegs now. It just came out.
I gotta watch that.
He was-
Nicolas Cage is probably has the best career of anybody of all time because he can play campy shit, fun shit.
Oh,
You know-
dude, and he's been in some great stuff lately. Like that movie with the guy, what's his name? The guy from Game of Thrones who played the Viper, the Red Viper. He's in everything now too.
Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, Pedro Pascal. He's in that film with him, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. That's fantastic. He's in this.
That's
film
a great movie.
You want to talk about just a mind fuck of a movie? He's in this film, Mandy. Have you seen this, Mandy? Where
I literally just so I was at Side Splitters. They're they cannot wait to have you down there again, Sam.
Side Splitters? Yeah, I'm there.
I was just there this past weekend.
It's a great club. And how is Tampa doing after all that hurricane stuff?
what is that? Mandy
Honestly,
by there or something?
Side
so
Splitters?
it's weird.
It's a comedy club.
No, how'd that come out of Mandy? I was just
I literally just watched Mandy while I was chilling at the condo. When you're not selling Sam Tripoli tickets, they make you stay in the comedy condo. At that club.
Perfect.
And so I'm sitting there on the condo, and on Hulu is Mandy, and I rewatched Mandy. And the first time you watch it, and back me up on this one, Johnny, if you felt the same way I did. I was horrified, but I couldn't look away. And then the second time, I'm like, oh wow, I still don't know what this movie's about. I knew what was going to happen, and I still don't know.
It's got nuts. Layers to it, man. It's so deep. Yeah,
he goes somewhere. That's interdimensional.
Yes, Color Out of Space too is this other one he was in. It has a similar sort of. I don't know if you've seen that one. It's about aliens. Purportedly.
Lovecraft, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's Lovecraft. Yeah. Oh man, he's a guy who really seems to be able to do whatever he wants to do. Choose what he wants to do and kind of pursue it, whether it's good or not.
If Biden had a sense of humor, Biden would be hiding. Like, first of all, Biden should fuck with Trump. He should take like the batteries out of all the remotes and all the.
Well, did you know that's what Clinton did to W? They took all the W's off all the keyboards in the White House before George W. Bush took off. They just went.
Oh, that's hysterical.
And took the W off of it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, Clinton used to work with his daddy on smuggling cocaine into the country, so that they probably know each other from way back in the day.
And if you're gonna take the batteries out of control, take them off the fire detectors while you're at it.
Oh, says the guy who's afraid to get deported. Okay, I gotcha. Would you got one more story for us? Any other stories stick out that? So
I'll tell you what, we'll let chance. If you guys believe in chance, I'm just gonna randomly open up to one real quick.
Pick a number, Johnny. Okay, and go on.
All right, let him. Yeah, he says he's gonna open to a page.
Let's see. We're gonna just do this. We'll do this. We'll land on.
This is a great idea for a book, dude.
I'm very excited. Again, the book
I'm gonna get a book. I'm gonna get the. Did I give you my address so you can send me a book?
You did. So I have some stuff coming your way, man.
Okay,
and
I really want to read this book. This is perfect.
They're one hitters, man. It's great. So the book is all right. This was all right. Perfect. Now I wanted to leave it up to fate, but we can't trust fate. We got to make our own luck here. The guy who created SEAL Team 6. Did you know we threw him in prison?
No. What?
All right. So this is the greatest. I'm a Navy veteran. I'm very proud of the service that I wanted to join my whole life. I was very patriotic. I was so right wing on so many things, especially in a post 9/11 world where I'm like, I'm going to get over there. We're going to punish the people responsible. And then you see firsthand how the machine works a little bit, even on the low level that I saw it. And you're like, all right, this isn't exactly what I thought. Maybe I'm not a military guy. I'm doing a little too much. I'd like to agree with the things I'm doing instead of just blindly following them. So that being said, there's a guy, an American hero named, and he's not well thought of in the SEAL communities. I have friends that are Navy SEALs that told me that you can't talk about this guy in public too often.
Oh, really?
So his full name is Richard Marcinko, but his nickname was Demo Dick. Right? That was short for Demolition Dick, which what a porn star name if he wanted it to. But he was a Navy SEAL. And the SEALs, before we like the modern idea of the Navy SEALs, that the David Boreanaz or the Bruce Willis style of Navy SEALs that we know of, that culture came from what he brought to it. So he created a SEAL team. He fought with the SEAL teams in Vietnam, who came from the Frogmen, which was underwater demolition people. And then this is where it gets the home run immediately. He should be in the Hall of Fame just for this one idea. They help him after the Iranian hostage crisis goes poorly. They put him in charge of a full-time counterterrorism team for the United States that can deploy anywhere in the globe at a moment's notice, and they're all well-trained experts. And he goes, all right, well, I got to get some cowboys from hell. So he starts this like process of like, all right, well, what candidates? And if you showed up and you were a badass candidate, you're like, I can do all the physical stuff. I can swim. I've seen combat before, but you didn't drink and like chew tobacco like the other guys. He goes, you're a pretty great guy, but we can't really trust you. We got to get you drunk and fucked up, find out what you're all about. And most of the Navy SEALs early on died just during training because the training was so rigorous. So this guy had this great idea. They said, what do you want to name this team for this counterterrorism thing to kind of strike fear into the heart of our enemies? And he goes, call it SEAL Team 6. And he goes, why would we do that? We only have 3 SEAL teams. He goes, yeah, but I want Russia to think we have 3 more you don't know about. So he creates SEAL Team 6. They become the most badass force on earth in terms of like cowboys from hell. They're pulling off all sorts of stuff. They're dropping bodies that we're still not even sure about some of the bodies that they're dropping. And then when his time is up over there, he leaves the command and he starts a group called Red Cell. And Red Cell's whole mission was they were supposed to test base security. That's what they were supposed to do. They got so good at it because his guys, he brought in all of his old Navy SEAL buddies and he goes, guys, this is what we're going to do. We're going to break into our own base. So again, this is why I'm linking this one up for you. Ready, Sam? Nicolas Cage came from the future to warn us about this from the movie The Rock.
Damn!
Okay?
Ed Harris, great film.
There we go.
Oh, it's a monster movie, man. So the Navy SEALs, it's Demo Dick Marcinko is breaking into bases. He gets so good because American security is so lackadaisical. He's supposed to show where the weak points are, like the weak points in our security. And he actually gets so good that he plants a bomb near Air Force One. He also hijacks a nuclear submarine. What else can he do? He starts kidnapping high-ranking.
Crazy.
He was amazing, and he pissed off so many people because if you were in charge of base security, and Demo Dick not only would he do this, Demo Dick was pretty much treating. This is a perfect example, and I hope XG is with me on this one. I think Johnny's going to be. Demo Dick Marcinko was humiliating people and running roughshod over military bases in the United States as if he was the Outsiders era of the NWO running roughshod over WCW. They were just showing up with
hilarious,
smacking people around, dude. They would take admirals and they would kidnap them. And they would hold them up in like hotel rooms for a couple of days, get them to crack under pressure and stuff like that. And then here's the best part, they'd videotape all of it. And then send it. So they got in so much trouble, man, that all these officers were out to get them. So the deep state comes in. Here you go, the deep state, which, by the way, my definition of deep state is just unelected officials in power for longer than any sort of a term. They all get together and they're like, we're tired of Demo Dick Marcinko beating us up and exposing our secrets and making us look stupid. So they put him on trial the same way they did Steve Bannon. And they hit him up for what's he wind up serving? I think he served 6 months in prison for I can't believe I'm blanking right now. What's it called? Oh, it's a kickback trial for his time as a commander in SEAL Team 6. So it's like a weapons contract or something that they thought that he was getting kickback money on. It was a total witch hunt trial. They throw him in jail and they say, Demo Dick, you were an American hero. You fought in Vietnam. You helped create SEAL Team 6. You helped create Red Cell.
Unbelievable.
What was your 6 months in prison like? And he goes, my easiest deployment.
I'm sure, dude. What is that? What is that television show, Johnny, that I love with the big blonde guy that's like and he goes and fights crime? The Hatcher, the Watcher, what is it called? It's the new one where he just solves crimes oh man. And it's like everyone's yeah, he's the blonde guy. What's his name? What's that? That's
Supernatural stuff.
No, dude, he's just like the super soldier who just ends up showing up.
Not it's the one that Tom Cruise
Jack
played.
Reacher?
Yeah, Jack Reacher. Yeah.
That's what this guy reminds me of. He goes to prison, he's just running it within 2 seconds, fucking everybody up. Imagine that's your
underrated movie, by the way. The Tom Cruise movie, Jack Reacher movie, was great.
Is it really?
I love the TV show, even though the guy started going really woke towards
everything's woke. Everything's so woke.
No, but like the actor was like getting really woke. I'm like, okay, dude, could you just shut up unless be homoerotic about you and your fighting and your body, please let us. I mean, every
They
guy
don't let
watches
it.
that going, oh, I'd love to be that Bill.
I heard the Jack Ryan TV show is pretty good too. Speaking of Jack's on TV.
I dug it.
Yeah. Oh, you saw it? Was it good?
I dug it. Yeah, my father and I always get together and watch stuff like that. So we watched almost every season. The last season was the best, I thought. But the problem is they keep killing off anybody who's interesting because Sam's right. Like anytime, like I think anytime they start to see somebody that people are galvanizing towards, like, oh, cool, a return to, some sort of a traditional masculine culture, they're like, oh no, that guy died. Yeah, he did because he did something really stupid and totally out of character. So they keep killing anybody who's interesting.
Well, now you got Penguin. Penguin is the leading man, and Penguin. Have you noticed that if you watch that show, every plan he has just blows up in his face, and he gets bailed out by somebody else. He's just an idiot.
But it's good though, right? It's good though, right? Penguin.
Yeah, it's good. Saying, no, it's good.
It's good. It is woke. It is woke. I don't care what anyone says. A handicapped bad guy, a fucking waif model chick is running the mob, and a Puerto Rican with a stuttering. All we're missing is Batman in a wheelchair, and we would have the most woke fucking show possible.
Have you seen the finale?
Great show. What?
Have you watched the
Dana and I haven't watched it yet. Is it good or is it garbage?
I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm excited.
I started watching The Seed of Chucky, and I thought it was going to be pretty crazy, gory. And Chucky ends up friends with the gay kid that owns the doll. And real Chucky would have murdered that gay ass kid. He would have called him a faggot and stabbed him. And no, now he's nice friends with them, and he protects them from his dad that hates the gays. And so it makes no sense.
The Seed of Chucky. I didn't even know that was a movie. The Seed of Chucky.
The whole series. No, it's a whole season on Hulu. It's a whole season on Chucky being friends with the gay kid.
They can't help themselves. I mean, it's just when you realize that LA is in mourning because of Kamala, you just realize that like Hollywood has like 5 years of pain coming where they're just going to have to clean the gut. They're going to have to gut out all of these woke people and get back to real shows.
Oh, it's just called Chucky though. Seed of Chucky is a movie, and
it's called Chucky or something like that. But it's on Hulu, and it's fucking so woke. Literally, Chucky would have killed that little kid.
Dude, Jason Voorhees is just wants to. He realizes he shouldn't be killing people. He wants to help the gay orphans. Is that that's what's going to come out? Hey, KP, great show. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We love having KP on. KP, one more time, tell them where they can find you.
Thank you so much, man. I love you guys. I could have talked. I literally was just texting Mike Romanelli. Apparently, on the 29th of November, I'll be back at the dojo with my buddy Aaron Berg.
Oh, so the best. That one. Aaron Berg Absolutely. Is the best.
Right now, I'm trying to push these books so that I can. My girlfriend's got kids. If you want to know how to get with a hot chick like I got, you got to wait till they have kids. Okay, that's the rules.
I respect that, buddy. I respect that.
Book is called History Isn't Boring, Your Teacher Was. You can buy that. It's over on Amazon. My website, KP Burke Comedy, is going to have that on there as well. If you want to watch the reels and stuff like that I keep putting them out, it's Instagram at KP Burke Sucks. I try to put them out all the time.
You got to change that. We've talked about that. You got to change it from KP Sucks to KP Crushing. I'm telling you, or killing it, or doing awesome. KP Sucks just... I saw somebody else is like, blah, blah, blah. It's not funny. I go, it's just negative energy.
Words are magic. That's what you told me.
You have to change it, dude. KP comedian.
Maybe we have to change it.
KP author, KP history.
Yeah, KP history. Yeah. I think that would be
unknown history. Boys. Whatever it is, you got to change the name. It's just got negative. I'm just telling you, dude. It's negative connotations.
I like that.
You're telling people to say you suck.
It's in the name.
Up, Sam.
And last thing, how are you feeling health-wise?
Killer, man. It's been a year since I was in the hospital. I scared the shit out of everybody, Sam and Mike Romanelli included. Scared myself, scared the pretty little blonde girl here hanging out with me. But we righted the ship, and I took care of things. Well, and we learned an important lesson about mixing Benadryl and Kratom.
Oh boy!
You want to let people know about that?
I have a lot of experience with Kratom, and it is absolutely an opiate. Anybody who tells you otherwise, it's
See, you're being an adult. Sometimes people are like, no, it's completely fine. It's like, no, you got to be careful about what you mix it with. I had terrible poison ivy.
For sure, dude. For
yeah.
sure. All right. Well, one more time. Did the book is your history doesn't suck. Your history's not boring. Your teacher is. The link is in the description below. Help out KP. He's one of the best to do it. And